Okay, let's dive right in because the main idea we're exploring today is, well, it's pretty out there. It sounds almost like something from, fantasy, but these ancient texts, they talk about it like it's real, a physical thing. We're talking about the claim that a really advanced yogi, someone who's truly mastered their inner state, actually develops a scent that's described as not of this world, a divine perfume, they call it.
Exactly. And that's really our mission here today, isn't it? To look beyond the, let's say, the poetic language. Is this divine perfume just a nice metaphor for inner peace? Or is there maybe actual palpable evidence behind it? Evidence of a really deep internal shift. We're looking for where that ancient idea of spiritual alchemy might actually meet modern science.
Yep.
Measurable chemical balance, neurological equilibrium.
Right. So this deep dive, it's basically a shortcut for you if you want to understand some of the esoteric claims about internal practice. If you've ever wondered what all that intense yoga, the breathing, the deep meditation, what it's actually doing to you biologically, we're going to explore how the ancients believed these practices could literally change your body's chemistry, right down to the scent molecules you give off.
And there's a specific term for this ancient whisper. It's divyagandha.
Divyagandha. Okay, having a divine odor. So just to be clear, this isn't just about someone being like really clean, is it? Where does this idea actually come from?
It's pretty fundamental in the tradition, actually. If you look at the sages who wrote texts like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, they saw the physical body as, well, think of it like a block pipe, kind of muddy.
Yeah.
And the practice, the postures, the breathing were all about forging a clean vessel, cleaning out the system, purifying the body of, emotional baggage, toxins, stagnant energy, all that stuff.
Okay, so the body work is like step one, the prep phase, cleaning house. But once the cleaning's done, why the sudden heavenly fragrance?
Because the scent that supposedly arises isn't just a side effect of being clean, it's considered a sign of a siddhi.
A siddhi, okay, that word always makes me pause a bit. It means perfection, right? Or sometimes something more dramatic, like a special ability, almost supernatural.
Exactly. And Divyagandha is specifically listed as one of these siddhis, something achieved through really advanced practice. It's a signal that the yogi has managed to purify their entire system. The texts talk about the inner fire being fully ignited and purified. This scent, this Divyagandha, is meant to be the direct physical proof of that internal alchemy working.
I get the poetry of it, the inner fire, but how did they think it worked mechanically? I mean, we're talking about a change in smell driven by something internal.
Well, from the yogic perspective, the main driver is the awakening of Kundalini. You often hear it described as that coiled serpent, right? The potential energy at the base of the spine. When this energy starts to move upwards and crucially stabilizes in the higher energy centers, that's when the body is said to release these subtle, refined, aromatic compounds. And the descriptions, they're really quite something. Smells supposedly so intense, so exquisite, that no earthly perfume could compare.
Okay, but a mystical serpent causing a nice smell. That sounds very much like a metaphor, doesn't it? Maybe something to inspire students rather than, actual biology.
And that's the really crucial point. We don't have to take the Kundalini and the serpent literally as biology. Think of it more like the ancients' operating manual for achieving intense self-regulation of the body. The fact that they consistently linked this deep purification with a specific exquisite scent. It suggests they recognized a profound chemical outcome of achieving total inner balance, even if they described it in mystical terms.
And the result. That's what I find really interesting. This scent supposedly signifies a true master, someone totally grounded in their own being, fulfilled from the inside out, someone unaffected by the pull of the outer world. It's like the smell of absolute self-mastery.
Precisely. Now, if we want to bridge that ancient idea to things we can actually measure today,
Yeah.
we need to shift how we think about the body. Not just flesh and bone, but also as this network of energy dynamics, the chakras and the nadis.
Ah, the spinning energy centers. Chakras. Now, some listeners might hear energy vortex and think, okay, this is getting a bit woo-woo. But how does this yogic map suddenly connect to our actual hormones?
Well, think of the chakras not just as mystical spots, but as maybe key regulatory hubs in the body. The whole point of the postures and the breath work, in this view, is clearing the nadis, the channels, so that life force, or prana, can flow smoothly up the main channel, the sushumna knot, along the spine. It's like they were trying to optimize the wiring of the nervous system in their own way.
That makes a bit more sense. And our sources do point out that the olfactory system, our sense of smell, is wired directly into the limbic system in the brain. That's the seat of emotion and memory. So scent definitely has a powerful link to how we feel.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is this idea of energetic harmony they had.
Hmm.
The ancient system recognizes certain things like specific colors or even specific scents resonate with the unique frequency of each chakra. But the real bridge, the one we could potentially measure, is the connection to the glands.
The endocrine system.
Right.
The chakras are often mapped directly onto our major endocrine glands, and those glands really are the engines of your hormonal system, aren't they?
Exactly right. Let's take an example. The Vishuddha chakra, the throat center, it's directly associated with the thyroid gland. And the thyroid, as we know, controls metabolism, body temperature, lots of vital functions. And this brings us right back to how the smell could change.
Because modern science is absolutely clear on this. Hormonal changes have a huge impact on body odor. I mean, anyone who works out knows stress sweat smells totally different from exertion sweat, right?
Exactly. And what these deep meditative practices, these hatha yoga techniques seem to achieve is a state of profound, systematic balance.
Hmm.
Equilibrium. They calm the nervous system right down, reduce inflammation signals, and they directly influence the communication loops of the endocrine system.
So are we saying that deep, sustained meditation basically acts like a giant chemical reset for the body?
Functionally, you could kind of see it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about regulating really complex systems like the HPT axis, the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis, which controls metabolism and how we use energy. By calming that whole system down, you're stabilizing the body's internal chemical environment. And that regulation, well, it cleans up the body's aromatic output. The subtle, maybe divine perfume is perhaps the smell of a body operating at peak efficiency with minimal internal stress.
Okay, so if the ancient yogis sensed this deep chemical shift intuitively, modern neuroscience must be starting to measure the internal changes that lead up to it, right? Beyond just seeing, say, lower blood pressure.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets really exciting, where the ancient observations and modern science start to converge. Scientists are measuring the neurological shifts that happen during deep, sustained meditation. And they really do seem to align with these claims of inner transformation.
Okay, let's talk brainwaves, sort of electrical music of the mind.
Right. When the mind goes into these deep states of concentration, the brainwave patterns change quite dramatically. And the sources highlight something really specific. The actual processing of smells, of odors in the human brain is linked to theta oscillation.
Theta waves, right?
Mm.
That's that slow, rhythmic state, the one you see in deep meditation, profound relaxation, even when you're recalling vivid memories, really internalized states.
Exactly. And achieving that deep, sustained theta state through practices like pranayama seems to actually change the brain's internal architecture over time. You're not just relaxing for a bit, you're potentially rewiring the brain to process information, including its own internal chemistry, on a deeper, quieter, more integrated level.
And probably the most straightforward way science can track this kind of purification is by looking at stress reduction, I imagine.
Precisely. Deep meditation is known to be incredibly effective at calming the body's main stress response system, the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. When you regulate that system, you essentially purify the flow of stress hormones that directly influence sweat and overall body chemistry. Less chronic stress means less of that acrid chemical signature associated with anxiety.
So putting it all together, the purification that the ancient sages called divya gandha, this divine perfume, it seems to be functionally the same thing as the profound chemical and neurological equilibrium that science is just beginning to map out now.
It looks that way. The equilibrium appears to change the body's physical output. The sources even describe this divine perfume as the smell of a mortal body being systematically transformed into an eternal one, which sounds mystical, but maybe it just means the inner engine is running perfectly clean and that manifests physically, even aromatically.
Wow, that's a really powerful connection, tying the mythological to the measurable. Now, for you listening, the source material actually offered a quick little thought exercise, a way to bring this idea of purification into your own experience right now. They call it the olfactory anchor.
Yeah, it's a simple way to try and sense this potential for purification within yourself. So if you can, find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, maybe adopt a posture that feels still and centered.
Okay, so let's start just by taking 5 deep breaths. Inhale through your nose. Don't try to smell anything outside. Just notice the feeling of the air moving in and out. Now, as you continue breathing, gently imagine a scent. Not a specific flower or perfume, but more like the very essence of peace itself. What would pure stillness smell like if it had a fragrance?
And with each slow, deep breath, imagine that subtle, peaceful fragrance gently filling your entire body. Imagine it purifying and calming every nerve, every cell, every gland. Let that imagined scent be your anchor, your point of focus. Take maybe 5 more breaths, just holding on to that sense of inner stillness and its imaginary fragrance.
Remember, the goal here isn't to actually smell something that isn't there. It's about using the idea of this perfect, pure scent, the concept of divyagandha, as a tool for concentration, for cultivating that inner equilibrium. You're using it to sense the potential of your own purified state, your own spirit.
And, for anyone interested in exploring this further, looking into the broader context of yogic transformation is helpful. This concept of Diviganda doesn't exist in isolation. It fits within a larger framework of signs and experiences associated with very deep spiritual practice, often linked to Kundalini activation.
Right. The recommended resource we found, Swami Sivananda reveals 12 actual signs of Kundalini awakening, is quite good for that context. It helps place this idea of a divine smell as just one potential signal among many that significant inner changes might be happening.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Something for you to consider. If achieving this intense inner purification can actually lead to a measurable chemical change, something as tangible as a sublime physical scent, then what other subtle changes might be happening? What non-olfactory chemical shifts or neurological transformations, the real core of internal balance,
Right.
might be occurring that our current science just can't detect or quantify yet? What other subtle powers, as the texts call them, might be emerging right alongside that perfume of peace?